Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Charles Barkley rips the Heat for quitting against Cavs. I bet if we went to their house. The Miami Heat's 2024-25 season ended in embarrassing fashion, as the Cleveland Cavaliers blew them out 138-83 in Game 4 at Kaseya Center on Monday. Facing elimination, the Heat were down 72-33 after 2 quarters, and Charles Barkley ripped the players on Inside the NBA at halftime. "Ernie Johnson, I try not to ever use the word quit or choke," Barkley said. "This is quitting at its finest right here. I bet if we went to their house, all their stuff is already packed. If you lose by 37 and then come back and lose by 40, you can't stay in town." Even Ernie Johnson said out loud that this was probably the worst game he's watched, which lets you know how bad it was. The Heat had lost Game 3 124-87 at home, and you'd hope to see them put up a fight in Game 4 to avoid getting swept. That certainly didn't happen. The Cavaliers were up 43-17 at the end of the first quarter and led by as many as 60 points on the night. They would end up winning by 55 points and came extremely close to tying the record for the biggest margin of victory in a playoff game. The record is 58 points, and that was the difference between the two teams before Pelle Larsson hit a three-pointer with 38 seconds remaining to cut the Cavaliers' lead to 55. This is the fourth biggest playoff win ever, and the Heat should be embarrassed by that. While the entire team deserves criticism, the two stars are the ones who deserve a big chunk of it. Tyler Herro put in a horrific performance, recording 4 points, 1 to 10 FG, 1 rebound, and 1 assist on the night. Bam Adebayo at least fared better, putting up 13 points, 6 to 13 FG, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. Adebayo only had 2 points in that first quarter as the Heat were getting rolled over, though. He failed to step up when the team desperately needed him to. The Cavaliers' margin of victory over the course of these 4 games was 122 points, a new NBA record. The Denver Nuggets held the previous record of 121 against the New Orleans Hornets in 2009. Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra is one of the best in the business, and this series defeat is one of the lowest points of his career. Spoelstra kept it real post-game when addressing his team's embarrassing exit. "Damn, it was humbling," Spoelstra said. "This series was humbling. These last 2 games were embarrassing, but Cleveland is also a very good team. We won whatever we won. They won 65. We're as irrational as we usually are, thinking that we have a chance to win this series, and they showed us why we weren't ready for that. The Heat were massive underdogs coming into this series. They had finished the regular season with a 37-45 record and were the first 10 seed ever to make the playoffs via the play-in tournament. The Cavaliers, meanwhile, went 64-18 and secured the top seed in the East with 3 games remaining. You expected them to win this series relatively comfortably, but not by this big of a margin. While it speaks to how good the Cavaliers are, they were certainly helped by the Heat's dismal play. Bam Adebayo sends cryptic message after Heat lose big. A 138-83 loss in Game 4 was not how the Miami Heat envisioned their NBA playoffs run would end. Coach Erik Spoelstra's squad caught fire by the end of the season with huge wins over the Chicago Bulls and Atlanta Hawks. It looked like they had everything figured out until the Cleveland Cavaliers came across them. Bam Adebayo was dubbed the new captain of the Heat after they traded away Jimmy Butler. Obviously, he is not going to take this NBA playoffs loss too well. The big man even went out to say that Pat Riley will be making big moves in the offseason to avoid a situation like this again, via Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. "There are going to be a lot of changes this summer, knowing how the guy with the silver hair works. Be prepared for that. This has got to fuel a lot of us heading into the offseason," Adebayo added. The Heat star was doing a lot just for the Heat to have a fighting chance in this NBA playoffs clash. In 32 minutes of action, he put up 13 points and grabbed 12 rebounds. His playmaking acumen also popped off quite a bit, as evidenced by the 4 assists he dished out. Adebayo will still have coach Eric Spoelstra and Tyler Herro alongside him to form the Heat's core for next season. The Heat will get ample time to fix up their schemes, identity, and rotation for their 2025-26 campaign. NBA trade rumors. Newbie trade proposal sends Trae Young to Miami Heat for big players plus picks package. The offseason started last Friday night for the Atlanta Hawks after their loss to the Miami Heat in the NBA's play-in tournament, and it has already been an eventful week. Just 2 days after he gave an exit interview and met with the media, Atlanta fired former GM Landry Fields and promoted Onsi Sala to the position while also announcing they were beginning a search for a president of basketball operations. This is a big offseason for the Hawks, and Sala is going to play a big part in shaping it, along with the new president of basketball operations, if one is hired. The big question around the Hawks this offseason is going to be about Trae Young's future. There were plenty of rumors around Young last offseason, but Atlanta ended up making the deal to send DeJounte Murray to New Orleans, which was a huge success. Young is eligible for a contract extension, and according to ESPN's Bobby Marks, he is eligible to sign a 4-year, $229 million extension up until next June 30 or a 5-year, $345 million Supermax extension if he is named All-NBA this season. If an extension is not reached, Young could become a free agent next summer, but only if he declines the $49 million player option in 2026-27. This week on The Dan Patrick Show, NBA insider Chris Haynes had this to say about what he has heard about Young's future. He is down with the process. He wants to see this Atlanta Hawks squad turn the corner, and he wants to be a pivotal part of that. After talking about how Young modified his game this season to help fit this roster, he did mention that other teams are monitoring his situation in Atlanta. Other teams are monitoring his situation and trying to see if there is going to become a point this offseason where he can be had and where he can be moved, because Trae is one of the most competitive guys in this league. When he went to that conference finals a few years ago, he wanted to continue on. He wanted the organization to do things, to make moves, to keep the team on the trajectory. Now, they took a little back step in recent years, but he wants to get back to that point. I have not heard anything on Trae's side that would lead me to believe that he wants out right now. I am of the opinion that Young is not going to be going anywhere, but that won't stop rumors from being out there. Today, Bleacher Report analyst Eric Pincus proposed a trade for Young to go to the Miami Heat. And you, fan? What do you think about Trae Young's situation? Write to us in the comments.